Hello, my name is Lucas. This is a bit of lit, and I'm here to do a book haul from Christmas. Some of these books I bought myself. I actually bought them before Christmas. You might have seen them. They were sitting here, um, and you might have just seen glimpses of them. I didn't talk about them yet. Uh, most of them I bought myself because I am very interested in these types of stories recently. Because I read one of these from Japan, and I just thought that story is amazing. I'll tell you more about it in a second. But some of them are from my girlfriend, and I'm most looking forward to reading those, but currently I am reading And So It Goes, a biography on Kurt Vonnegut. I would have posted this video last week and finished this book I'm reading currently last week. But yeah, I just, up until yesterday, I was not feeling like doing anything. I had all these plans for my holiday. My AC hasn't been working, so I've been very upset. I thought I would go places, thought I would see things, thought I would create stuff. And instead, I've just watched a ton of Star Trek and vegged out. Barely even read. Yesterday I read quite a bit, and today I've read quite a bit. So getting back into the swing of things. But without further ado, I'd like to show you the books I'm most excited to read that I will actually probably be reading next, so to speak, after, I've got this whole series on Kurt Vonnegut planned. I've already read Player Piano, so I'm going to make the first video and then Player Piano, and while I'm doing between that, I will be reading Neil McGregor's Germany, Memoirs of a Nation. I've seen his other book about, I believe this guy also wrote something about like 1,001 objects throughout history or something like that. Yeah, it's, I don't know much about it. I guess it's about Germany throughout time. I've been looking through here. There's all kinds of really great images, and I don't know who this woman is. Betty. Gerard Richter. All kinds of images and historical information, contextualize Goethe, and I'm sure Snow White, Napoleon. If we go a little bit later, I'm guessing we'll get into the Kaiser Wilhelm, First World War, and this kind of stuff. I don't know. I think it goes right up to First World War. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know too much. I've seen this book around, but I don't know much about it. I am looking forward to reading it. I'd like to read about German history. Is this a good book? I don't know. I will find out soon. But I'm quite excited. This was definitely a surprise, because I had not mentioned this book at all to my girlfriend. So very happy to read that next. The other book that I will read after I read The Sirens of Titan, which I will read after Germany, is Richard Rhodes's The Making of the Atomic Bomb, which is a reprint, the 25th anniversary of the classic history. I guess it won a Pulitzer Prize and National Book Award and National Book Critics Circle Award. And I had definitely been talking about this book because I had seen it, and I thought that'd be really interesting. I want to know more about Project Manhattan, Oppenheimer, and the atomic bomb. I'm wondering what it's going to say about its use if it gets to that point. I'm sure it will briefly touch on that at the end, at least. It seems this is mostly about the making of it. I don't know, but I will be talking about this next. Sometimes I've got quite a few books here that I've actually, some of these poetry books, or this mythology book here. I have read bits and pieces, but not really talked about them. Sometimes, they stay on the shelf for a very long time, but these books I will be getting to as soon as possible. And that includes this one. Very interested in it. It's got also has lots of black and white images, and oops, that's just text, but it's got a lot of black and white images as well. We have FDR here, so on and so forth. Anyway, very interested in reading those. Now, for the books that I have been largely interested in, actually relate to this book that I bought a long time ago and have read bits and pieces of. Never quite finished it. Read a few of the stories a couple times. This is, oh man, this is one of the first books I bought when I moved here. Chinese Fairy Tales and Fantasies. This I bought a long time ago. Haven't quite finished it, but has a lot of really cool fairy tales and fantasies and stuff. I thought I would get some other books from the same series, and so I got the Pantheon Fairy Tale and Folklore Library edition for folk tales from India. The reason, I mean, certainly I've read some stories from here, collected and worked on by Moss Roberts. The reason I got it is because actually I own the Japanese one on my Kindle, and I had been looking through it, and I read this really cool story about a painting of a horse that, I'll put this down in a second. I'd been, I read this fairy tale about a painting with a horse, and at night the farmers around this village notice that their grains are being eaten, and they don't understand why. And of course it's the horse coming out of the painting at night, and then going back in before anybody notices. Eventually, you know, the lord who owns this painting, he sends a lot of people to investigate this, and they can't find anything, but one day he notices some fresh mud on the horse, on the horse's legs, because they had been, and feet, because they had been walking through the mud to eat the grain. And so he scrapes the eyes out on the painting, and the horse never comes out again because he can't see all this delicious grain. It's quite dark, but I thought that was, yeah, I read that, and I thought, you know what, let me keep reading the one from that and from mythology as well, with the Greek and Latin, Roman, and I think it has some Norse stories too, but I haven't gotten to them. Let me go through that, and actually let me get some stories from India. This one is edited with an introduction by A.K. Ramanujan. I do wonder if he is Indian of some kind. I don't know for sure, but I thought this would be really cool to have, because yeah, I've got the Japanese one, which I read when I bought it a long time ago, before BookTube, but then yeah, I just was going through it again for some reason, and just decided, let me get this. I do wonder if this guy is Indian though, because Moss Roberts, pretty sure he's not Chinese, and the guy that edited the Japanese one, I'm pretty sure he's not Japanese. Not necessarily a problem, they are well researched in these kind of things, but I do kind of prefer, I would prefer that they are edited and collected by, not people from that native to that country, at least people who are researched, but also have some kind of connection. It's just personal taste, but it's not necessarily wrong. It's still cool. They're doing these kinds of research, but there is some element of disconnect there, possibly. However, I also got Legends and Tales of the American West, because I really like Westerns, and I thought, let me get something that has American mythology in it. This one is edited and illustrated by Richard Erdos. This one is quite cool, actually. Some of the stories are really hard to read because they are very deep in vernacular. Is that the right word? they just speak like they're on the frontier, and I hate when writers use that kind of technique. I mean, when it's too much and it's really difficult to read what they're saying, like with Charles Dickens, to show that they're poor, basically gives them a ridiculous Cockney accent or something, or Sarah. Oh, what is that? Anyway, Sarah Orne Jewett, I think is her name, or Mark Twain kind of does it too. It's not so bad if it's light, does build on the character. Sometimes I just wish you could just tell me. It's a personal taste. It does depend on the execution. Some of the stories I read in here, really hard to read, not too enjoyable. But some of them are quite interesting. Not always pleasant, so to speak. Quite dark. This is the American West and the frontier and all that. I'm sure you can imagine where it goes. And then the other one that I got, because I've been very interested in fairy tales and this kind of stuff lately, is Yiddish folk tales. This one is edited by Beatrice Silverman Weinreich and translated by Leonard Wolf. So that's really cool. Just another set. There's a whole bunch of these. There's like Greek, and there's Japanese, and there's Russian, and I think there's like some, well, I'm sure there's Native American, South American one. There's a few others. I think there's one for Norse mythology and that kind of stuff. Anyway, I've been really interested in this kind of stuff. And that was nice. And then I bought these a little bit out of high stress that I was feeling. And to, the thing I do is if I'm feeling really stressed, I will buy books. Usually I'll just get a couple books, usually something like this. Not too expensive, but I went all out with this fairy tale and mythology kind of thing. And I bought the annotated Hans Christian Andersen, which is amazing. I mean, it's beautiful. It's got illustrations, the stories on the inside of the pages, and then annotations. That's a little hard to see, sorry. Annotations on the side that are very clear and easy to read. We've got beautiful illustrations too, again. And we've got a whole bunch of stories by Hans Christian Andersen. And it's hardback. It's got this beautiful cover. And even when you don't have the cover, I'm a little afraid to take it off. But even when you don't have the cover, you got this beautiful little insignia. Yeah, kind of spoiled myself there. Also, can I just say, color scheme of this book, beautiful. I don't know what that page is called, but I like it. And that would be nice if I just bought that one and those other 3 books, but it's been a long time. I bought the Annotated Brothers Grimm. I did a lot of capitalism lately, I'm sorry. It's terrible, I know. But yeah, we've got a whole bunch. This one was edited by Maria Tatar, and with an introduction and the notes. This one is also edited with a new preface and notes by Maria Tatar, but an introduction by A.S. Byatt. That was the thing that really pushed me on this one. Because I was thinking like, oh, I already bought so many books, but I really enjoy A.S. Byatt, so I wanted to see what she had to say. And I also wanted to read Brothers Grimm again in a beautiful, illustrated, with beautiful space, a lot of space for the annotations. Some of them are even in color too, so that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I've been going through these These ones, because I bought the last 5 books I showed you, I bought before Christmas, actually. So I went through them a little bit before I just stopped reading for a week. And I've read a story here, a story there. Very exciting. And that would be nice if... This is the last one. And I'm not buying books. Possibly again. I don't know. I've got quite a few that I don't really want anymore that I'd like to donate or trade in at some used bookstore. I know they have them here, but anyway, I'm not buying books for a long time. I've got plenty, and I spent too much on these. I got the annotated Arabian Nights, Tales from 1001 Nights. I've never read the whole thing. I would still like to. This is some selected stories. This is edited by Paulo Lemos Horta and translated by Yasmin Seal. I'm sorry if I got their names wrong. Once again, beautiful illustrations. We've got the annotations as well. We've got it all in these 3. It was a lot. Oh, the foreword to this one, by the way, is Omar El Akkad, and afterword by Robert Irwin. But I've never read any of these stories. I think I've heard, like, what is the name of it? I've heard some of the stories, I think, in a podcast, someone retelling the story. But I've never read the whole thing, and I've certainly not read this. It was there. Yeah, and I felt better after reading it. This one is the only one. I was most excited to read this one, and I haven't touched it yet. It's just been sitting there beautifully. I'm looking forward to reading the annotated Arabian Nights. We'll be going through some of these stories for individual videos this year, I think. That's what I would like to do. That's another big reason why I started to pick these up. And including the one I already owned, the Chinese one, and the Japanese one, which I have on my Kindle. But anyway, that was a lot of money to spend. Not spending any more money. But we've got the annotated Arabian Nights, the annotated Brothers Grimm. I believe these are all Norton Critical editions. The annotated Hans Christian Andersen. This is getting heavy. Yiddish folk tales. Oh gosh. Legends and Tales of the American West. Oh my. Folk tales from India. Okay. I can't hold these anymore. And then Germany and the making of the atomic bomb. It's all really heavy. Let's never spend money again, which is just a funny thing to say, given my spending habits. Not so much on books, just on everything. Anyway, bye. I will be talking about these books on a weekly basis, but I'll make that video tomorrow.